Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Hot Mic. We sit down with some of the best pros in the Call of Duty World League, and to kick things off, I've got a one-on-one with my buddy Parasite. We're gonna have Karma and Apathy joining us later in the show. But first off, how you doing? You look comfortable.
I definitely am. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's on me. That's on me. I forgot to tell you we're on the couches now, and you probably should wear pants, but you're probably feeling good.
I'm feeling good. We had a pretty good week in the league. I'm chilling.
You did. I want to talk a little bit about that, but let's kind of get into it. First things first, I want to. Usually when we have the guests, I'm kind of start at the beginning of the year, how things are going. So you guys had a nice start at Vegas, then had to play through the Pro League qualifier to try to get into the league. If memory serves, you guys were basically right around one win away from getting into the league, but you ended up falling short with Pittsburgh Knights. What was that time like for you? Because it had to be pretty disappointing.
Yeah, it was very stressful. We were getting rid of 2 players, I think, from our old team, considering I think one of them left. And we got rid of Theory, so it was just like really annoying because the time period between that was like really stressful. And we ended up choking our spot. Our fate was in our hands, and it really sucked. So.
And that was your chance because you've been on the outside looking in for the past several years. Like you've, in a way, even though like I consider you professional player in my head over the past couple of years, you've sort of been like king of the amateurs in a way, just like that guy right on the cusp of getting in the Pro League.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've been kind of bouncing around like teams and like getting really close to qualifying. It just some things just don't work out. And also, if I did get in the Pro League throughout the year, it was usually like getting picked up by a team. It was never through my own qualification up. Yeah, so.
Well, there's multiple ways to get in. You found a way to get in. So when did it kind of click for you that you were going to have a chance with Midnight to get into the league?
Well, I was like scheming throughout the whole roster mania. Like even before the league, I was just like, all right, who's doing good, who's doing bad, and then like I was like secretly like rooting against teams. I'm like, oh, these guys need to do bad so they can pick me up. But then eventually, it kind of came down to Accelerate, who's now Elevate, and the Midnight team, because I ended up finding out that they were making changes, and I'm really good friends with Lamagod, so luckily he gave me a chance.
Well, I want to talk about the current roster and. You guys had big shoes to fill because they were sitting at the top. They were probably one of the biggest surprises with that Midnight roster. I don't think anyone had the expectations for them to come in and play in the Pro League the way they did. But then you guys are able to get that spot, get onto the team. And there was a lot of negativity circulating around Midnight after that change. Not necessarily towards you and the players, but towards the fact that the change happened. What was that like for you guys with all that stuff swirling around?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we were offered a spot. We're going to take the spot in the league. Like 3 of us weren't in the league, or 3 or 4 of us, I think, were not like qualified to get in the league. So we're going to take that spot. So in my head, I didn't really care, but at the same time, like it was just like annoying. Like get away from me. Like I didn't do anything wrong. I just took a spot. Like I can't refuse it.
It's your job. No, you 100% take the spot. I just wonder what that's like for you, just trying to focus on playing when you've got all that going around. I want to talk briefly then. I mean, we go all the way back to Black Ops 2 Champs, where you're able to win that, one of the best moments of your career, if not the best. Things have changed quite a bit since that time with regards to the structure of the league, money on the line, everything. What do you think is maybe the biggest difference between then and now that you're back in the Pro League?
Well, having a LAN league's incredible.
Yeah.
Having a lot more support from the developers and the publishers over there at Activision, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, all those guys. That's probably like the biggest thing. Like back then, it was kind of just you guys, like MLG, doing everything. And now everyone else is getting more involved, and we got a lot of cool things on the way. So
yeah, I think everybody's pretty excited for next year. We don't know a lot of details yet, but I think everyone's pretty positive about what's coming. All right, so I mentioned Champs, likely your biggest moment. Is there anything else that really stands out, like your biggest moment in Call of Duty outside of the Champs win?
I mean, the only really thing I can think of that like is like a super successful thing is like getting back in the league, regardless if it was like through getting picked up. Like that was pretty good. Everything else, I've had a few third places here and there in AW. Like I had 1 first place in Ghost, but like other than that, it's been pretty disappointing. Like at least up to my standards, leading up until getting back in the league now.
Well, how important is this spot for you then? Because you've spoken to the frustrations, you've had the tweets that have come out where you've been disappointed in yourself or teammates, or you've said that you've been grinding more than anyone else, whether it's through the stream or just playing, and you've been on the outside looking in for so long. This has got to be really, really important, right?
Oh yeah. Like when I got back in the league, like I felt like this was probably like one of my like best CODs, like top 3 like skill wise for me. So I was just like, I need to make the most out of this opportunity, because if I don't, it's kind of like what you've been grinding all this time, and then you finally get your shot and you're just blowing it. But like we've been doing really well. Like we haven't been doing the old Midnight standards, but we had a 2-2 week at CrossVision. We started 2-1 this week. Like we're at least showing that if anything, we're at least a middle of the pack team. We're not going to be one of those bottom tier teams that is coming in, making all these changes and just not doing well.
That's true. Well, the Midnight roster, obviously, it's paying off. You guys are looking really strong. But has it been frustrating for you, like, that may be a top team in these past couple of years, considering your playmaking ability, that you haven't maybe been picked up?
It's definitely frustrating because, you know, people say I'm like a cocky person, but I'm just really confident in myself. Like, I mean, I've won a world championship. I've always shown that I contend. Like, even like with like bad rosters, I've given some good teams a pretty damn good run for their money. And statistically, like, while the stats aren't everything, I've always played well. Like, I don't think I've really had like a streak at all of bad events. Like, maybe I have one bad event, maybe I have one bad series, but like statistically at least, I'm always performing well. I'm always right up there with all the other top ARs. So. Well,
I mean, if you keep your head about you and you guys have a really good performance with Midnight, maybe that's your chance to, I don't know, maybe another opportunity to hop into the upper echelon when you talk about squads. I do want to take a look just forward kind of at what you have this week. If we can check out the schedule, you've got what? EG, Reciprocity, Optic, and FaZe. So you've got a pretty loaded schedule considering how EG's playing, Optic's playing, FaZe is playing. This is one of the tougher schedules we have this week. What are your thoughts going into it?
Well, EG, I think they just start off really hot. If they can keep this consistency going, I'd be really impressed. Like, I mean, it usually happens with a lot of teams having like a honeymoon phase. If they keep it up,
certainly does.
Which I'm sure they'll still be a really good team, and I'm sure we'll have a tough match. Like, I think we can beat those guys. Optic, I always give them like a really good run for the money, and we got Lacefield on our team. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, no, we can definitely at least, like, if I say like a low expectation for us, it'd probably be like, you know, 2-2 this week. But you know, if we keep up like what we did to LG and like how we even played versus like UYU and Gen.G, like even though we got 3-0 by Gen.G, it was kind of like there was a few close maps there.
Certainly were.
We can definitely you know take a few series.
All right, well, good luck. I mean, this is going to be a tough week, but that's going to do at least for the 1-on-1. Thank you for coming on. We've got more guests to come. We have Apathy and Karma joining us after a quick break. We'll be right back with more Hot Mic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hot Mic. We now have the rest of the guests with us. Apathy from EG and Karma from Optic Gaming are joining us. First off, Karma, I want to thank you because the last time I asked you to come on Hot Mic, you promised me that you would. You didn't show up, and I was forced to make a mannequin of you, which I believe we can show a shot of that. We'll compare it. So this is real. I mean, it's pretty much spot on. I did a damn good job.
I should have wore that jersey. Yeah. I was going to make you pull him out again.
Oh, I would have killed you. I would have killed you. But all right. Well, thank you for coming on. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Glad to be here this time. It's the real me. I'm moving.
Yes. Thank you, Damon, and Apathy.
Yes.
Sir, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm ready for a great Hot Mic.
Thank you. Yeah, it is hot here. It's like 90 degrees. I'm extra shiny up top. All right, but you guys, so when I first DM'd you guys to come on the show, I think Brian or one of you guys responded and said all of you guys had actually teamed. When was this?
Modern Warfare 3.
So we're talking what,
2012.
Ghost? Oh, we did team in Ghost too. Oh.
So 2012 and 2014?
We did.
We won together in Ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I was thinking even
that was my
further
last
back.
championship.
That was your last championship. 2014. It's only been 5 years, dude.
It's all good.
Who was your guys' fourth all the way back in Modern Warfare 3?
No,
oh, it's what, Sensor?
Too Quick. Modern Warfare 3 was Too Quick. In Ghost, it was Doug, Sensor.
Oh, so you got Sensor championship as well. All right, well, that's interesting to hear. All right, well, let's
I did.
He definitely got us a championship. That's the other way around.
All right, well, let's start talking a little bit about Optic. So, I think it was after most of your wins, even though you were getting victories, Krim was frustrated. He was tweeting out, frustrated about bonehead plays, frustrated with this and that. What was your take on that?
I mean, yeah, he was right. I think I did a post-game interview one time, and we had lost to Control and I want to say one of the hard points. But yeah, basically it was just us playing like boneheads. But like overall, I think we're feeling pretty good and we're playing pretty damn good. But we just need to fix up our control, and I think it just comes down to like us all being on the same page and knowing what we need to do when we get into situations, because I feel like we're winning most of the controls, not defenses though, which is a big problem. And we always get leads, and then we just, I don't know, go get B, go get A.
Well, I heard, what was it? It was after you guys, I think it was Arsenal, and you had a split push, and you guys had control of the inner side of lab on Arsenal, and you guys opted to like split instead of just finishing the point. And I was outside, I heard Krim come out and he goes, but he said, he's like, Seth, you're an idiot.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, we just keep doing it. We keep trying to do more. It even happened on frequency versus UIU. Same thing. We could have got B, and I was down at B with Porter, and he pushed through. I'm like, Porter, I picked up an ICR. Let's just hold the point. And he doesn't. And then I get bad timing. 2 people go out mid, but the whole setup breaks, and I'm the only one on point. So, I mean, it's just little things in control. Other than that, we've really like hashed out our search.
Well, it has to feel good if you're making the sloppy plays and you haven't even had this week, like Dashy hasn't even been like your superstar per se this week, which was a part of the reason you guys were able to win Vegas. It's got to feel good to know maybe not having Dashy as best and making the mistakes, you're still getting wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just shows that we're playing better because he doesn't have to go drop a 2.0 every series. And the good thing is I think we can only get better. That's the way you have to look at it. We're playing really good, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement.
Okay, all right. Interesting to hear everything from you. And Apathy, we'll talk about EG now. So you guys, you went from, top 16 at the last event. They talked about control. I don't think you guys won a control round in London.
That was actually really sad. I'm not going to lie.
Not a map of control, not a round of control.
Round.
It was pretty brutal for you guys there. But suddenly now you look like a team in contention to battle against the top squads. What has changed?
I feel like we just talked about a lot of things. We went over a lot of our issues, and especially in control, kind of like what Damon was saying, we just figured out our mistakes, and we just had to be more on the same page as a team. Because I feel like that's been the biggest things for us. Like, we're just a lot of players from different teams come into one team, and we all have this sort of different mindset how we want to play certain situations. And we've talked about a lot of things. We figured a lot of things out, and hopefully, we can be on the same page now.
Well, all I've heard, I think I was talking to Cap. We watched the Sixers game where they lost. He was very sad. And then we watched Game of Thrones together. We were chatting about it. He's just like, this game takes more teamwork than any other game, just based on, I think it's the healing mechanic that mostly makes that a thing, just because of the ability to re-challenge, ability to stay up. And he's like, we just weren't, our pacing was off, our teamwork was off, and you literally cannot win if that's the case. So it seems like you guys are certainly improving there. Also, I would like to announce that this is the first Hot Mic in which we've had a full setup of champions, because you guys are all world champions. I'm now a Blackout world champion after Blackout After Dark. Well, you don't think that's a real championship?
I mean, sure, it is. Yeah. When you're 40, it can be.
That's fair. That's fair. But now, I want to talk about what separates kind of champions from other teams. And where I want to go with this, Parasite, is for me, I haven't had faith in Gingy to win a tournament, mostly because they haven't yet. They just haven't shown me that ability to be a championship squad. It's very hard to win a major tournament, as you can attest to. We were talking about your last win in 2014. What do you think separates a championship caliber team versus a team that can get close but not close out a tournament?
I think the biggest thing is just composure and then intensity. I don't know what it is, but it's just an instinct at this point that whenever you're playing a big match or you're playing versus a really good team, there's something in your head that just clicks, and it just makes you play better and it makes you think better, and I feel like a lot of people don't have that.
It's like a killer instinct kind of?
Yeah, literally. Because I used to whenever I was younger, it felt like whenever I would sit down to play, I was just cracked. I literally was whoa, what the hell happened? I just sat down and all of a sudden I'm just focused all the time, and then I'd get up and I'd just be normal again. It's just so weird. It's just
interesting.
Yeah.
What about for you, Apathy? Anything to add to that about what it takes to just win a damn event?
I don't know. It's very difficult. I know that. Just a lot of hard work and practice, honestly. I feel like that's one of the biggest things, getting quality practice back at home and when you're working with the team, so you can learn, get better, and then apply it to your gameplay when the time comes and when it actually matters. So I think that's the biggest thing. I feel like also what Chris was saying, composure. I feel like a lot of people get nervous and start to kind of lose full composure and start to get sort of panic in certain situations, and then everything just falls apart for them, and they just need to know that stay calm and just work with their team.
When E United fell apart.
Yeah.
During that uplink.
Oh, yeah, back in IW. That's a good example.
Yeah, it certainly is.
That was the ultimate.
Yeah, that was.
Lost.
Damon, for you, and I think this is something, maybe I'm off base here, but I feel like there have been tournaments for you especially where Friday and Saturday you haven't been great, and then Sunday comes and you're a different player. How does that happen?
Except London.
Okay, maybe except London. But you've had many times where I feel like stats-wise, you've just turned around on Sunday. Is that a mental thing?
No, I don't know. I think it's just us getting into a tournament mode, really. Like the first 2 days, I mean, in the past years, I haven't really had to do anything. Like Seth he's just a little noob slayer. So like in all the other games, and then it was Matt doing it too. So when we got to Sunday, I feel like we just started playing really well as a team, and then it was like kind of my chance where I'm like, okay, we're finally in that groove. Now I really have to do something, because if I don't, well, we're probably not going to go very far. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what it is about Sunday.
Well, you've said a lot of times to me, like when you've been frustrated with teams' performances, like when you've been up and down and taken flack from the community, you've said like, when our team is playing the right way, I'm an infinitely better player.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I've been in this game. I've done a lot better. This might be my best game since Ghosts, I would say.
Wow.
Probably better than IW. It just comes from the guys on the team, you know, like they've really worked to get better. Like after Fort Worth, we all sat down and talked. Like we lost a series versus E6 in a scrim, and I feel like we should beat them every time. And we were just kind of, I said something because they don't listen to Porter. I just, you know, did Coach Carter's speech real quick, and then they were all like, "Oh, that's the GOAT right there, Brandon and Teach." And then we've done well ever since, and I would like to say it's good because we're playing better, and like I said before, we can play even better, but that definitely helps. Me being on grapple, I think, is obviously a pretty big thing. I don't know what Tej was dealing with it.
Well, we're going to talk. We have a question about that a little bit later in the show. We'll get to the grapple, talk about it, because I do want to touch on a little bit. This actually leads into our TCL clip of the week. This was actually a wild grapple play. Unfortunately, I believe it was against this guy. Can we roll the clip and then we'll discuss it afterwards?
I mean, they have 21 exactly right now, so Royalty has half the kills. And he just got fired! What is going on? The 5-man slam is now 26-6 is Royalty and about to earn more streaks.
I want to touch on both sides of this. So first, I want to hear from you two as non-grapple players. Like, Parasite.
Well, I'm a grapple player now.
Oh, sorry. From Parasite first, then we'll kind of hear from you guys.
That's all you.
For you, if you know a team has grab slam, how do you try to prep for it? What can you do to
Well, if you look at that clip, like, you don't want to take any advice from me. But anyways, no, in all seriousness, obviously look at the score, make sure he has grapple. Once you know he has grapple, like, just try to spread apart as much as possible. But at the same time, you want to be very vocal at that point. Like, once you see the Ruin player, like, regardless of, like, where you see him, you need to call him out. And then you kind of just need to, like, work around him or try to make him waste it, like, bait him into using it. Or just prepare for a team shot. Like, if you see him jiggling you, like, everyone get ready to shoot this guy. Other than that, like, it's kind of just hard because the cards are in his favor.
Yeah.
Like, you have to come, especially if they have control, you have to come to them. So they can just sit there and buy time, just like, and it's really frustrating to deal with.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways we've seen it. We've seen it used defensively when you're trying to hole. We've seen it used to try and get a big entry like he was able to do. I kind of want to hear from both of you. We'll start with Karma. What about using it? So maybe if you're talking to like a league play player that's running grapple, trying to get better with it, how do you try to set it up? When do you try to use it?
Well, I mean, the best time to use is like when the other team has no choice but to kind of like contest where you're going. In that scenario, well, they didn't really have to, but I'd also say that was kind of unlucky.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But it's really just, you know, like, you got to use it at a time where they don't know you have it and they don't know where you are. And that's the biggest thing what Chris said is in those moments when you know the grab player is about to have his grab slam, when they find out where you are, it makes it 10 times more difficult. Unfortunately, in that clip, he kind of just went in right away before they had a chance.
Yeah, no one was looking at the doors.
Yeah.
So.
Like, as you've seen, they all were really far, but then they were all kind of close at the last second, so no one really known yet. And it did hit everyone, but you have to be sneaky with it in a way. Or if there's like a big contest going down and they don't know where you are, just come out of nowhere and clean up. But other than that, you got to have some balls. I don't know. Sometimes you got to do something risky.
All right. What about for you, Apathy? When you're trying to set up these grab slams, like what's a bit of advice maybe you give to someone trying to play with it?
I don't know. I feel like I try to play too perfect with it sometimes. Like I try to set up the best slams possible, and I feel like it's a good thing because usually my slams will be really good, but then I feel like I hold on to it for too long. So I'm still trying to find like a perfect balance of like trying to have some balls and just use it more. And also, but use it at the best time possible. Because, like, I feel like the best time you should use it is to definitely hold or to break. But, like, I try to get at least 2 to 3 kills every time. I don't want to use it for one person unless it's, like, a very big kill.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just the way I think about it when I run through the
Well,
map.
because we've seen those times where it's like a player holds onto it for so long where it becomes obvious they're using it late in the game, and then everyone just tees up on them. Like,
Yeah,
you know exactly where they're going to
exactly.
grapple to. You know where they're going to set up. There's 3 people shooting you in the face as you try to make the play.
It's difficult.
Well, even then, sometimes like I'll just use it like really quick if I'm doing well once I get it, even if it's 1 or 2 kills, because the second one with every specialist is like always the hardest to predict, whether it's War, Tempest, or Grav, and if you do have that chance that it goes later into the game and you get it, the chance of them knowing it's really difficult when it gets late game.
So a little bit more of a question mark, at least when it comes to the second one. All right, well, let's now take a look at the schedule, at least what you guys have going on this week. I know, Parasite, we talked about yours. You've got a very difficult schedule going forward. And I think the 3 of you told me you guys none of you have matched up yet in the first week, so you're all going to be playing each other throughout this week. Chris, we heard your opinions on how you think about things. What about for you, Apathy and EG? You play, what, Midnight, Optic, FaZe, and Rec, so you have 4 matches this week. What's your guys' focus kind of going into this week?
I mean, we want to win every single match. We want to have a chance to qualify for playoffs. So I feel like we're just going to go as hard as we can to win every single one. And at most, we can maybe afford 1 loss. But hopefully, we can win them all.
Well, it's tough. I mean, you're coming into this team after that. I mean, their record was abysmal.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they started, it's like unlike you, who joins the team, you've got a great record with Midnight. You
Unreal.
come into an absolute hole. What's it like, by the way, with Coach Revan? Because obviously, this is a new. How many coaches have you had in the past? Like, is this
This is my second one because I only had Bevels.
Not many. And Bevels, we know, did a great job. Obviously, as you guys somehow won champs last year. What's it like working with Revan?
Revan's a great coach. I feel like he's really on top of his things. He's constantly trying to help us learn and get better, and he's just there for us at all times, and it's great. Like, having someone to be on top of us like that, and like making sure we're on point, making sure we're working hard, and I love it, honestly.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And I imagined, like, when I first heard he was going to coach, I'm like, that seems to suit him. He's like so particular on things, so dedicated. I'm not shocked to hear that
He's
at all.
very dedicated.
He's full of passion.
Dude,
A lot of
I've heard him lead his RuneScape troops. And that is like, he's like a general. It's insane. It freaks me out.
The first time I ever seen him during a match was the last match they played on Thursday, and John's standing in front of the screen talking to himself about every play. He's like, okay, they're pushing, they're all there. Okay, you got to get the bomb down right now. All right, guys, turn around. And I go, do you do this? He says, I do this every time. I'm right here watching the screen.
That's why I figured he'd probably be a solid coach.
Love it.
What about for you guys? Coming up with the schedule, you guys start out great with the 4-0 week. You're looking to have a flawless week.
Yeah.
Just looking to clean up the mistakes?
Yeah, and I guess the good thing is these guys, they all need wins, so it's not like we're going to have an easy week. We're actually going to come out and we're still going to have to play our game. It'd be nice to win some controls. For some reason at open events, we're really good at control, but here we stink. So it'd be good to come out and win some controls, and I know Haggy has some control strats, so.
Ooh, we saw Lacefield in the grapple. We got it. Everyone
That
saw
never
it.
happened.
Everyone saw it. Everyone saw it.
I didn't, so I.
We were talking about it here. He's
actually
like,
did.
he's the grapple player. He's like, what are you guys talking about? And, we're like, and you were like, oh, I don't know if I should tell him. But we saw it literally like 3 times. It was insane. But let's take it out of the league a little bit. We're going to hop into player intel and just make it a little bit more personal, kind of talking about stuff still surrounding the league, but less about matchups and gameplay stuff. I think the biggest thing that's likely happened in the past couple of days is what went down with Tommy. Obviously, he opts to step down. It was tough to read. I think Tommy's one of my favorite players all time in COD. He's an incredible
Tommy.
guy. I mean, I'm sure you all are very familiar with it. I think mostly he said it was kind of mental fatigue. Like, he was just feeling tired, didn't feel he had it mentally to play at the level he wanted to. I guess I want to hear from you guys how you managed to avoid that. Is there anything you do to try and stay in peak form mentally, to make sure you don't find yourself exhausted, that you run into something like this? You told me, didn't you run into a certain situation kind of like this at one point?
I had really bad anxiety, kind of depression stuff, like probably around 2016, 17, like going into 2017. Yeah, I was at a really low point in my career. Things are not going well, not qualifying for the league, doing poorly, like really poorly at events, like top 32s, top 24s, like like to my standards, like, and like if you know me, like, you know, I don't like stand for that stuff. So having that happen to me was just terrible. And then that plus like a medical condition just really like slowed me down and just, you know, had me completely out of my mental state. Like it was terrible. It was a terrible time.
And I'm sure it's just difficult. I mean, we know how mental this game can be,
Yeah.
whether it's confidence, anxiety, whatever you're dealing with, to try and focus your full into actually performing. It's got to be very hard to do.
Definitely.
So obviously wish Tommy the best of luck with everything he's doing. But like Apathy, for you, anything that like just kind of helps you stay mentally sharp so you're not getting burnout, not finding yourself fatigued when it comes to kind of the pro league?
I just feel like taking a break sometimes and doing something else you like, whether it's going and watching a movie, going to the gym, like spending time with your friends, just like a time where you get to chill and relax and kind of just like, I don't know, have some fun other than like gaming. Because when we're competing and when we're playing, like it's like a lot of stress, it's a lot of high competition, and you're just always just grinding. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay, all right, just trying to balance a little bit. And speaking of kind of the balance between, I guess, work and life, I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about two different things. So I think you tweeted yesterday you're upset because you had to miss, what was it, Bella's first day of preschool that it was?
No, it was a pre-K graduation.
Oh, pre-K graduation.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but that's got to be tough when you got stuff going on at home. You've got to be focused on the league. Find it difficult to juggle both sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've really had to miss anything. Fortunately, she graduates, I think, at least 3 or 4 more times in the next 18 years.
That's true, that's true.
And hopefully one more in college or something like that. But yeah, it was tough having to do that. I at least got to go on the FaceTime.
Oh,
Good thing technology's great
right.
nowadays. But in terms of, I guess, like kind of what they were talking about, for me, over the years, I've come to find that, you know, I can only, like, I know my limit of when I need to play COD and like how much I need to scrim. Like, I can't sit there and stream like for 12 hours anymore and just play league play and COD. Like I'll scrim, I'll play some public matches, some league play, but I won't overdo it because I'm someone who gets really burnt out and I love video games. So I play to my limit unless I'm feeling like, hey, I'm not doing good right now, I need to play more. But I've kind of got it down, like where I feel like I'm playing the perfect amount, and then I'll go do other things after, you know, like watch Spider-Man Into the U-verse with Bella.
So good.
Oh,
So
I've
good.
watched it like 20 times.
So good. So good. I want to ask you one other thing, a little bit off topic, but just speaking to kind of juggling lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. There's obviously, I know you can't talk to it too much, but there's all the rumors going around with Optic and Immortals and everything going on. Did you find it tougher to focus up this week with all the stuff circulating around Optic, or you can kind of just bury that in the back of your brain?
Honestly, it was probably tougher going to sleep Saturday night at London because I wanted to play so bad Sunday than thinking about all this. What can you do? I mean, we're just players.
Yeah, I think that's
when I first seen it, I was like, oh, what is going on?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's really all you can do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think Krim tweeted something like, I've learned at this point, like, you can control what you can control. The stuff that are outside of your control, you can't focus on too much. But hopefully everything pans out for you guys. Well, now to just kind of take it from a less serious topic to a bit more goofy, we're going to roll a clip from Blackout After Dark. This is me being tomahawked. Oh, no, this is Blast Tomahawk. I thought it was when I got tomahawked. This was insane. Look at this tomahawk. And then he snipes one.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
I wouldn't expect anyone other than him to do it, though.
And I don't even think he plays much Blackout. That was
No, he
nuts.
doesn't.
That was actually insane. For some
just a
reason,
team play.
when I saw a Tomahawk clip, I was thinking it was when Bobby Boff Tomahawk me.
yeah.
But no, that was a much better play. Yeah, we don't need to show the other one. But that was nuts. What about Blast? I mean, we saw that incredible play. What's it like teaming with Blast?
Blast is super talented. He's just got a lot to learn. He's got to, be more patient sometimes. I think he's just kind of gets ahead of himself in game. But other than that, I mean, really talented. Guy doesn't miss. Guy's really fast. Like, he just, good. He's really skillful. So he's a good teammate.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of waiting for him to break through. Like, I just feel like I've said this a couple times on broadcast, but so many of these young up-and-coming stars from, like, the Search and Destroy scene have just, like, it just seems like it's clicked on land very quickly. But for him, it just, I don't think we've seen the best of Blast at all.
Yeah,
Like,
his consistency is definitely not, like, up there, but he's been getting better. Like, slowly but
He's
surely.
just all
he's
up
been-
here. He's nasty. He just needs more up here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
is that something that you think just sort of comes with time?
Yeah, and just willingness to like do that
Yeah.
in a way. I mean, you could just sit there and be nasty.
I think sometimes it comes down to a confidence thing. Like
Yeah.
you might sound, like look confident or sound confident on the inside, but when you're playing, like, are you like second guessing yourself type thing?
Well, that's what I personally think the problem with LG is right now. Like, I think it's, well, yes, maybe they're not playing the game the right way, but I think it's got to be some kind of confidence thing where they just don't believe in themselves to win right
there's
now.
I think
definitely more than-
decisiveness is like the most important thing in COD. Like it's one of the most important things. Is just being sure of what you're doing. So
I don't think any of them are sure of anything they're
Exactly.
doing right now. Because, like, even before, when they won, I mean, Jerry used to say we didn't know how to play. We might not have. I didn't think they knew how to play when they won. And now they're losing, but you would think they would beat some of these teams. Like, they were winning matches before or games, maybe not in the league, but they were doing better than they were right now without knowing what they were doing. And, like, I don't know, with the talent on that team, like you'd always say, like, they should be doing better. But even then, like, even statistically, they're doing pretty bad.
Well,
so something's
I just
wrong.
don't see how you go from winning an event to like having 3 league wins.
And people keep saying stuff about the Rampart, but like even back when, so
More
the
than
first leg they went 0-3 if you remember, and then they rebounded and went 3-1. That's before they were using the Rampart and stuff. Like they turned it around. I guess real quickly, this wasn't even a question we had on here, but do you guys think they can kind of turn it around like we saw them do in the first leg, or is it broken now?
I think they might have
Rick
chalked
might be
it.
able to-
You think they might have tried? You think this is something where we come to the next roster period and something's probably going to go down?
It happens to a lot of teams. It happened to my team before where everyone's just unhappy. They want to change and they're just giving up on each other. I mean, possibly maybe if they all talk with each other and be like, we can do this, but I don't know.
I mean, Gunless is at EDC this weekend, so I don't know.
They
That might be
definitely
good for
chalked
them.
The
it.
next roster period's 3 days, too, so
Yeah, next roster period.
I don't know. I feel like more than likely no changes will happen.
Yeah.
You don't think we're going to have a big whirlwind like this last time?
There's no time,
only
I don't
3
think.
But this is the last time before like champs and everything.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, unless there's another good team or a good player who, like, I don't know. Like, they'd need a really good player, but probably an ICR, right? Or a SOG.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably not going to get a really good one. And it's 3 days, and they're probably not going to want any of LG's players given how they are right now. So.
I think if roster mania starts, like people are gonna be making plans like pre-Anaheim, like after the league.
Yeah.
I think you like have to.
You have to. If you
There's
plan
no
on
choice.
making changes, you have no choice.
Which
but
is
to
just
start
tough
making
for your
changes.
team going into
Which
Anaheim.
means
too.
Anaheim is chalked.
Shocked.
All right. Well, we're starting to run out of time before we get into the matches, so we're just going to get right into community comms, guys. Just questions from the community, kind of touching base with their thoughts and what they like to ask. I think we have, 3 questions to go through. All right, I think this is the first one can kind of apply to both of you guys. It's with Farico Impact. So do you have a favorite or maybe funniest moment from back with that Farico team? Anything that stands out?
I mean, the whole thing was pretty damn funny.
Yeah, our whole team was actually hilarious. I mean, there was like countless moments outside of events that, or like outside of like actual gameplay that obviously I couldn't really talk about. But our
If
whole
only it was
team-
actually hot, Mike.
Yeah,
we can touch on all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Our whole team was just hilarious, dude. Like it was a fun time teaming with them. Even when we get mad, like, dude, there were so many times in scrims where we'd like be beating the other team like so bad, but like Killa would still find a way just to be mad and like yelling and stuff like that about like dumb things.
I mean, the
Like,
number one thing had to been, gosh, what was the map? The one at the disco room where Seth goes 11-0 and I turn off my Xbox and drop the
Oh, I
game.
do remember that.
He starts counting. Oh, he's 5-0, 6-0,
Oh my
7-0, 8-0. I'm like,
12-0.
Chris, what are you saying?
I'd
Like,
be so
we're
mad.
getting smoked and you're just laughing about it right now. Turn off my Xbox.
Yeah, it was a funny
Oh,
moment.
probably shouldn't
My
say
favorite
Xbox.
my favorite moment from gameplay was like there's a video where Killa was like, I'm just gonna jump off the map because that's how good we are, and he just starts jumping off the map, dude, mid scrim. I'm just like, dude, what?
So you had a lot of fun
Yeah.
moments with that
Yeah,
squad.
yeah,
It's good to reminisce sometimes. We'll move on to the next question. This one's from Shermont Goalie. This one's from Karma. How was it for you to change from grapple to cluster, back to grapple? It looked to be hard for TJ, but it looks so easy for you. I mentioned earlier in the show that we were going to get to something around this, so I want to
Yeah.
save it for now.
Goat,
Yeah,
goat.
answer it.
I just like read it 3 times and I still don't really know what it said. But,
Well, basically,
yeah.
why have you found it easy to kind of hop between and use grapple, whereas we've seen other players, we know how important grapple is to the game.
Yeah.
It's so important from a timing standpoint, from the using grab slam as well. You've made it look easy where other players maybe have not. How have you done that?
Well, it's just like you're playing a different game with the grapple. Like they're all on the ground, and you get to you can get to everywhere 10 times quicker. And I don't know. The biggest thing for me is just it's not the grapple plays, but I'd say it's the grapple when I can use it to get somewhere quicker, like in the middle of a match. because like if Chris is off spawn, I know that he has to walk all the way there. But if I'm off spawn, I can get back into the fight instantly. So I think that's just the biggest thing for me. It was nice having the cluster. The cluster was pretty insane, but then they did patch it, so you don't get it as much. So I'm not really worried about that. But the biggest thing was probably just using the grav. Like Tej would hold on to it, and he really like was just trying to get like the 3 or 4 piece. And I told him, I'm like, hey, if you get that, you just got to let it rip, and you might get one, but it's better than nothing, and it's better than not using it. And we had a series at Fort Worth, I think, when we lost to Gen G on Seaside Control to get out of the tournament. We're up 2-2. We had grav spikes and Tempest from the 2L round, and they never used it.
Oh, dude.
Well, Bruce tried 1v11 last round.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like, he just never, I talked to him after, he's like, I just never found a spot to use it.
Yeah.
But it's like better to just use it in a poor
literally
place.
just use it.
Yep. All right. And this will be the final question. This goes to our man Apathy. This is for Apathy. Do you think you guys are hitting the form you always hit the later stages of the game? I think it applies directly to you. I mean, we've talked many times that you get better as the year goes on. You feel like you're finding that form?
Yes, I feel like I'm finally more comfortable now, a lot more confident, and just like feel like I know what I'm doing around the map, and things feel easier, especially just able to use the grapple, because back on Envy I was a crash player. I feel like the grapple is just an easier role and allows me to play better. So I'm just feeling really good right now.
Why do you think it is that, like, for you specifically, that it seems it's later in the game you usually hit your stride and get more comfortable?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it's because I put in more time, I'm more focused in. Maybe
Just
because
needs cap.
Just need
cat. Or maybe just because I deal with a lot of bad placings at the start, and then it's like a light kind of turns on in my head. It's like I got to get serious and start taking it very serious.
Well, it seems like it started. You guys have a fantastic week, and seeing if you can keep it going into the next week. That's going to do it, guys. That's it for Hot Mic. Thank you all for coming on the show. We've got a bunch of matches to come as we round out the final week here from Division A. Thank you all for watching Hot Mic, but let's get into the matches.